Who brought the marshmallows? Because I'm bringing the fire.
It's been years since we've had a real DMC game. I know there are some people who liked the reboot, but the vast majority of players didn't, myself included. The only thing I liked was the combat, but a lack of lock-on and bouncing off enemies cause you weren't using the right color to kill them takes away from the enjoyment when it happens all the fucking time in later missions. So, DMC 5, is it a good game? Yes. For once, a 9 out of 10 score from IGN is on point, which can mean one of two things. It's the end of the world, or they have someone who knows what they're doing. I'd like to think it was the latter, but in all seriousness, DMC 5 is a true successor to DMC 4. Not because you play as Nero, Dante, and now V, but because it takes what makes Devil May Cry fun and ramps it up to a whole new level, as well as being set after Devil May Cry 4. The story is fairly simple. Demons invade a city called Redgrave, Dante and friends go to the demon tree that's causing all these problems, and eventually bad guy loses. Yeah, that's how most people would see it. It's actually not, at least not all the way. I know a lot of people will say something like, but Nero's riding on top of a demon and not treating the situation seriously. How can I take this game's story seriously? Well, random person who obviously doesn't exist, you should take a minute and reevaluate what fun is. Last I checked, this is what DMC games have always done and excelled at putting smiles on people's faces. I know it did for me. You learn more about Dante's history, who the hell V is, and something a lot of fans have speculated for years to do with Nero. DMC 5 is not a game that's main plot is anything special, just like with DMC 3's. It's all about the characters, their roles are the major plot, their interactions with each other, which is great in this one, and finally we have a fully fleshed out Nero. Nero's arm is ripped off by a mysterious figure who everyone thought was Virgil from the trailers, but is told by V that it's this demon king called Urizen. So Nero goes on a mission to settle the score, as it were. V is a huge mystery the entire game, and for the most part he's that guy who you think you can trust and then have doubts, then trust fully again, then doubt again. Always kept me speculating what his intentions are, and I didn't know until after mission 11. Then you have Dante. We all know Dante by now, but he's not the main focus of the game. In fact, his role seems to be, you're good at slaying demons, we could use you, as well as taking a mentor role for Nero. Not really explaining to him what he should be doing, but he tells Nero to back down from helping get rid of Urizen for story reasons I don't want to spoil. But story isn't everything. This is Devil May Cry after all.
Sorry, but I can read all your moves. Helps that I know who you lose.
I've heard some interesting things from people saying that DMC 5 is too easy. The game does have an auto assist, and I don't want to say they're using it, but I have a feeling that some people have been using it to perform combos that otherwise would take more than just 3 button presses. There are also multiple difficulty settings. Sure, you start off with easy and normal, but then you have Son of Sparta, Dante Must Die, Heaven and Hell, and my favorite, Hell and Hell, also known as Get Good at Dodging. This was the OG Get Good game. Now, I'll admit, while playing it on Devil Hunter mode, which is normal for people who haven't played any Devil May Cry games, I did feel it was a little easy, but until you finish the game in that mode to unlock Son of Sparta, you can do what I did, which is play around with the bosses and enemies. I have noticed a flaw in the mission ranking system though. In order to get an S rank in combat, you need to get at least 5,000 style points in Devil Hunter. During the mission, however, if you get something like 4,200, you can still get the S rank on missions due to the multiplier at the end that says if you used any revives or took no damage. Which kinda took away my accomplishment of the S rank until I went back and made sure my combat style was an S, then I was happy. The threshold does get higher with difficulty, so in Son of Sparta it's like something like 6,000 I believe. The only reason for the multiplier being there is because you can no longer purchase or find vitality stars or devil stars, so in order to make sure you're at full health is to not get hit or kill enemies that drop green orbs. Anyway, let's talk about the combat, cause we need to know if it's any good. I give it a triple S rating, wood combat again. It's still got complexity, which is what we love, and your style may rise to an A rather quickly, but as soon as you reach S and want to keep it or get higher, you need to switch your moves quickly, otherwise it goes down to A or B fast, like really fast. I stopped attacking for about 3 seconds and my triple S went down to a single S. Playing as Dante is always a plus, and I'm glad they gave him a motorcycle to mow down demons with. We saw it happen in DMC 3's cutscene, but now we can finally do it ourselves and it feels great. V took some time for me to get used to because it's different, but it's a good different. Plus the memes that are to do with V are golden, this one being my favorite so far. Then you have Nero. His attacks are thankfully the same. We have a couple new attacks with Red Queen. The Devil Breakers are super fun to use, each have their own uses and have a charged attack. However, if you use them while getting hit, your Devil Breaker, well, breaks. But it's okay, there are Devil Breakers lying around each mission for you to use, and I finally managed that max act properly. Sometimes. The important thing is I'm able to do it during fights. I swear to God I'm good at DMC. Red Orbs are now the game's currency once again. Now, some people have complained that Capcom is selling Red Orbs as DLC. I don't know a single person who actually bought them, as A, £16 for 1 million is dumb, and B, everyone knows that the game gives you more than enough. Seriously, I finished the game in Devil Hunter and almost unlocked almost every ability for Nero and 60% for both Dante and V, so I can safely say you don't need to buy Red Orbs. Ever. Sure, it's weird that they're selling it, but DMC4 had this, and this is Capcom, the people who make what they class as a complete product, and a year later release an even completer product, cheaper. They are either really smart or really dumb, and the scary thing is no one knows. You can also have equipment loadouts for Dante and Nero. I barely used it, but I'm sure as I get closer to Heaven and Hell mode, I'll be making use of it, as some missions require certain devil breakers to make things either more manageable or burst heaven. And I prefer burst heaven. For people who are only using one style of play but don't want to try out something new during missions because it might affect their rank, you can always go to the Void. The Void is a very nice place. It lets you practice new abilities you've acquired, see how well you can hold your style with combos, and probably the best thing of all, you can test out abilities there before you even purchase them. Afraid you'll waste red orbs on an ability? The Void solves those problems. I almost forgot to talk about the boss fights. They are so well designed, I have nothing but good to say about them. Except for one, and that's Gilgamesh. What the hell was that boss supposed to be? I went into that fight and kept thinking there was going to be more, and there wasn't. The boss literally just moves past some shipping containers to hit you from a distance, except this is easily countered by getting to him because there are stairs to help you get over those containers. My favorite boss is in Mission 19. I can't say who it is because it's not only an endgame boss, but also contains spoilers. I will not be that guy who takes away from your moments of being overjoyed before getting completely fucked by said boss. Instead, I will mention Cavalier Angelo. I like him. He's surprisingly well designed, and it proves that a dude in armor is more dangerous than fucking Gilgamesh. Plus, breaking his guard feels so good. And lastly, the cameo system. This is something that's in effect for the majority of the game, but plays almost no role unless you're in the mission where you have to choose between playing Dante, Nero, or V, because some paths are shared, which means you can see someone fuck up using Nero and question how they managed to break all their breakers. It's hard finding a problem with Devil May Cry 5. I really did look for problems, and the only one I could find was the fact some S ranks felt undeserved because of the multiplier, but obviously fixed by going back on that mission and getting your combat style up to an S. This is why most reviewers from sites like Kotaku, which you shouldn't believe anyway, say it's too easy. As soon as you hit Son of Sparta and above, the game doesn't hold back anymore. When I saw the Bug Queens appear in the prologue, I realized I was in for something special. I'm pleased to say this is the first ever DMC game that has full mouse and keyboard support. I used it for about 5 minutes and switched back because after years of wanting this, I'm too used to a controller for Devil May Cry. Also, there are a lot of options for PC, and I played mine on Ultra without a single frame drop. I could just kiss the people who optimized the game. I fucking loved my time playing Devil May Cry 5. If you're on the fence after DMC 4 being half a story for both playable characters and the reboot being what Capcom should never do again, then trust me, 5 is worth all your money. I've heard people complain that it's too short. Some people say 15 hours, I finished it in 11 and I'm already started my second playthrough, and will likely go to a third, then fourth, and become a hermit because this is how replayability works. Take notes, developers, this is how you make people continue playing your game. Make it fun. I'm looking at you, Anthem. What's this? I'm being told you can unlock the super version of Nero, Dante, and V by finishing the game in Dante Must Die mode. Well, time to become that hermit. If you enjoyed my review and would like to see more in the future, hit the subscribe button. Also, like and comment, I'm always open to feedback on my reviews. You can also follow me on social media, links in the description down below.
Grab my shoulder. I know you wanna.
You say cry again. Devil May Cry. Fuck.